Good evening, Dan Cooper with another Cooper Cogitations, and we're still dealing with schools. Schools is a vast subject. Uh, as I was speaking last time, I was talking a little bit about the American Psychological Psychiatric Association. The communists have a goal to infiltrate the uh, Psychological Psychiatric Association. We also know that they want to destroy the family. We also know that they want to present homosexuality, pornography, profanity, promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. Well, in 1972, the Psychological Association came out and said homosexuality is normal, natural, and healthy. Look at what we have today. In 94, they came out and they said pedophilia is normal, natural, and healthy. And it's coming with the speed of a freight train. In fact, what's happening now is that some psychologists are teaching gestating women with children in the womb, that they can speak to their children who are in the womb and get permission to murder their children. Isn't that special? You've got to have some sort of a cognitive disconnect, psychological maladjustment to do this, but yet no, women are doing it. And these guys are teaching them, and women are teaching them to do it. It just must be wonderful. Must be wonderful. Continuing, this is what prophets say about the purpose of school and education. Not school, but education. President Brown, U.B. Brown. We urge all members, young and old, to keep in mind always the true purpose of life here and hereafter is to seek the joy of eternal progression. The glory of God is intelligence. Man can only share that glory through continuing education of the whole man. Now, as we discussed previously, you destroy the family to better control the individual. Well, I taught 13 years in 4 different states, California, Utah, Nevada, and Arizona. I was told by 2 administrators, 75% of my different states, and I was usually a minority. I was a white guy and I was usually a minority. I was told that 75% of my students were throwaway children. They didn't live with parents, they lived with friends or boyfriends, girlfriends, lived on the streets. However they did, they lived. And then 25%, only 25% lived with one or both parents, and only 10% lived with both parents. How can I say this? I saw the difference in these different students between those who had parents and those who didn't have parents. I had students who were fetal alcohol syndrome students. And usually I taught secondary. Usually I had 2 to 5 students every year who had had a child out of wedlock. I had one little 17-year-old girl with 3 children out of wedlock. Are we destroying the family? Are these schools destroying the family? Well, let me think about this. Yes. Are they succeeding? Yes. Is this the true purpose of education? This is the true purpose of government schools, as we read in the Communist Manifesto. Now, we'll go on down the road, and then I will take the National Education Association platform for 1994, and I will compare it with the communist agenda, the communist goals and philosophy. And we'll see how these fit, because I think they fit very well. Let me see what else I can do here. Let's see. Yes. And I believe schooling fills the pail, but education lights the fire. Please be cognizant of this fact. Education is different than schooling. Schooling is propaganda. Schooling is programming you. Schooling is training you. Education sets you free. Education lights the fire. It is the fire. You continue your education. My goal is 15 books a year. I read them. I write in them. I cross-reference them. I put an index, my own personal index in the book. And then I write a book report on it. But that's just me. But I want to continue my education. If I don't change in 3 years some of my understanding, I failed. I failed. So you always have to change. You always have to improve. But you can only prove by reading superior individuals. For instance, Locke. You can read Locke. You can read some Blackstone. I like Rousseau's John Rushdoony, The Institutes of Biblical Law. This individual spent 700 pages writing about the Ten Commandments. He's an Armenian. I don't know what the Armenians did. I do know the Turks instituted genocide on the Armenians and murdered millions of them. They don't admit it, but that's what happened. I do know that the ancient Armenians, in their wedding ceremonies, crown the groom, the king of heaven, and the queen, the wife, as the queen of heaven. Now, as a Latter-day Saint, that rings true to me. Whatever these people had, they had. How much did they lose? I don't know. Why were they selected for genocide? Well, you have to talk to the Turks about that. Anyway, I think what we'll do is put my glasses on and I'll tell you what we'll do. Yes. Bruce R. McConkie, Council of the 12. The process of living on earth, of seeking to work out one's salvation with fear and trembling before God, is of self, of course, education. It is a system of training, study, discipline, whereby the mental and moral powers are schooled, prepared for graduation into the eternal realm. Let me continue that. And the physical. You physically have to keep the commandments. Your thoughts between you and God, your heart's between you and God. I can't see it. I only see your behavior. Let me see your behavior. You can say, oh, I'm true, I'm faithful, and cheat on your spouse. Well, I don't care what your thoughts are. I'll only look at your behavior. I only see your behavior. So it's a course not only of mental and spiritual, but physical course also. President Kimball says, BYU is the greatest institution of learning. Why? The uniqueness of Brigham Young lies in a special role, education for eternity, which it must carry in addition to the usual task of a university. That means concern, cultural, behavioral, for the whole man, for the eternal man. We should be knowledgeable. When we talk about the Godhead creatorship and eternal increase, we have already soared far beyond the comprehension of most men. To attain these great accomplishments, one would need to know all about astronomy, biology, physiology, psychology, all parts of the arts and sciences. The obtaining of all this knowledge will come largely after our earth life. The doctrine, teaching, character building university, Brigham Young University, is dedicated to the building of character and faith. For character is higher than intellect. We are men of God first, men of letters second, men of science third, and noted men fourth. Men of rectitude rather than academic competence. Our academic training must be as impeccable as our lives. Now, I concur in that, but my experience at BYU leads me to say that not only did that education course support, promote communist philosophy, and the one following it that wanted me to change the values of my students to conform with my values. I have good values, but I don't think I should take it and force your child to have my values because I'm a government propagandist. No, I wouldn't do that. I went 8 credits of 0 at BYU because I refuse to so treat children that way. I also had a science professor who was speaking about evolution. 2 or 3 of the returned missionaries ate his lunch. He says, I'll give you 3 days at the end and we'll talk about it, but I have to talk about this. It's an accredited university. It has to teach this. Afterwards, I walked to talk to him. He's talking to these 3 young girls from Payson, sweet little things, wonderful LDS, everything good. And he says, don't worry, I won't lead you astray. I'm in the stake presidency. And I'm thinking, oh, Oliver Cottery, Martin Harris, Sidney Rigdon, David Whitner, and I could go on and on and on. Position in the church, except for the prophet? No. So BYU may be better than other schools. Hillsdale is the one I like best, even though I didn't go. That's it for right now. We'll continue with schooling and education in our next episode. Okay, that's down.